So this is a bike check of my Mason Definition road bike, and this is the setup I use for winter riding. Now, as you can see, it's rather conveniently started tipping it down as soon as I film this video, so I feel like it's quite apt that today I choose to show you the bike. The Mason Definition is one of Mason's original two bikes, this and the Resolution, and they're designed as a 4-season road bike, so that means it's good to ride in these conditions now. We're in early March, but I've been riding this setup all the way through winter, including my Edinburgh to London bikepacking trip. So I'll put the link up now and you can see that and see what kind of stuff it's been through. Quite often on my channel I've got bikepacking setups from really exotic locations, but the truth is this bike is my workhorse. I live here in Cambridgeshire and this is the bike I ride sort of year in, year out, all conditions. This is what I do a lot of my training on, so I think it's only fair that this gets a bit of limelight as well. So onto the frame, it's Diadachi aluminium tubing, made in Italy in a small workshop, painted in Italy, and then Mason are based in Sussex in England, and that's where the bikes are assembled and dispatched and all the customer services. This setup, it's a bit of a mishmash. I've had this bike quite a few years now, probably nigh on 5 years, and I've changed bits along the way, and it's kind of bits of old group sets, and it's kind of like mashed together, but it works and it's quite reliable. So yeah, this is what I'm using. So as you can see, the group set, it's basically some really old Di2 shifters. I had those in 2015. They've done they're on the bike I used to win TCR in 2015. And I've been using them ever since. Just goes to show how reliable Ultegra Di2 is. I've got a newer 11-speed Ultegra mech on there, and then the chain set, I've got a power meter, so that's a Quarq chain set with the power meter integrated. A lot of my training I do by power, so that's why I've got that on there. I think I've actually got some TA chain rings on there. They're actually 10-speed chain rings with an 11-speed group set, but they work. And I've got some old Speedplay pedals. They're the old design, and again I've been looking after those for years. If you grease them and look after your stuff, it will keep on working. Onto the wheels, I'm running Hunt's 34 aero wide disc wheel set. Now this is kind of like a slightly profiled aluminium rim. I just don't see the point in running like stupid expensive carbon wheels through winter. Quite often when I do group rides in the winter, you see people on like 5-6 grand carbon race bikes, super aero wheels, and they just get covered in crap and, you know, road salt in the UK and mud. And well, it's making me sound old now. I remember when I was a junior, I just used to get whinged at on the club runs if you didn't have mud guards. So yeah, aluminium wheels are the way forward, nice and cheap. If you crack a pothole and break a rim, easy to replace. These have been done 3 winters. I don't think I've replaced the bearings yet, so they're pretty well sealed. And I think they look pretty cool as well. As I mentioned, I do have mud guards on. I just think it just makes such a big difference to your ride. It stops your feet getting covered in water. It stops all the spray coming from the front wheel onto the drivetrain, which makes that last longer. And it just makes it a much more comfortable and pleasant experience. Not to mention, if you do actually have friends to ride with, which I don't actually ride with people very often, they don't get all the spray from your back wheel. So it kind of like, it's just win-win all round. So the Masons do actually have all the mounts for kind of proper fitted mud guards, but I don't tend to bother. I've just got these clip-on ones. They're SKS ones. Can't remember the exact name of them. I'll put the link in the description below. But they just go on with rubber straps. I have lost a couple of straps to the front one, but on the rear one you can see that you know, they're really easy. It takes 2 minutes to put them on. On the front I just use zip ties and they don't budge. All you need to be aware of is it's worth just putting a bit of tape on, because they don't move, but there's kind of vibration, so you can just slightly scuff the paintwork on the frame, which it kind of shows up on a high gloss finish. It'd probably be fine on a matte finish. So yeah, that's my SKS mud guards, front and rear. They're pretty much full length, and it just makes such a huge difference to me. So the saddle I use, this is a WTB High Tail mountain bike saddle, which they don't make anymore, but I find it super comfy, and it's on this fancy Hope seat post that I acquired. I've got a rear light on there. You just need it this time of year. Just makes you visible on the road, and actually I find it makes car drivers just give you a bit of a wider berth. If you don't have it on, they just tend to think they can get away with cutting you close. It's actually it's an unmarked exposure blaze. I used to work there about 10 years ago, and that was one of the very original production samples, which I managed to get hold of, and I'm still running it 10 years later and it still works, which is great. And then I've just got a little saddle bag here, just got a multi-tool, a couple of inner tubes and a tyre lever, and some tyre plugs just in case. Now the tyres I've been running, Normally I run Renault tyres, but I chose these Schwalbe G1 Speed tyres for my Edinburgh to London trip, specifically because of the little textured tread pattern on there. It was particularly icy at that time, so I put these on there, and I just haven't got around to taking them off yet. They're pretty good, to be fair. They do drag. They're really draggy because of the textured surface, but it's just invaluable at this time of year when, you know, the roads are crappy and muddy, it's icy. Just having that little bit of extra grip is good peace of mind. And I've not punctured yet. They're pretty thick. So yeah, they've kind of done the job. Having said that, I'm very much looking forward to getting my nice supple Renault tyres back on for summer. I'll put the Bonjon 35mm tyres on some fancy carbon wheels, and then the bike will feel super fast. That's the thing about heavy winter tyres and mud guards. There's quite a lot of drag. So I guess it's just good resistance for winter training. So yeah, maybe I'll do another bike check once I've cleaned it up for summer. Just a note on the chain here, so I'm actually running like the Squirt wax lube on it. I find that the winter lubes, like the wet weather lubes, just get so claggy, and then everything gets covered in crap, and I think it just wears stuff out quicker. So I run the Squirt stuff. It does mean you have to try and reapply it pretty much after every ride, especially when it's wet. But I just think it makes everything last longer. So this Groupset's had 3 chains on it now. This is the 3rd chain. To be honest, I'm at the stage I'm just going to run it till it's totally worn out through the rest of winter, and then just refresh the chain and cassette just in spring, and then hopefully that chain and cassette will see me through to next winter, and then I'll repeat the process. Now I run 2 bottle cages on here. I don't really need much fluid in winter, but these are just Ritchie kind of plasticky ones. As you can see, there's the mount for a rear guard here, or I run my tail fin rack when I've done bike packing trips, which you can see in the Edinburgh to London video. Onto the bars. These are Ritchie carbon road bars and stem. I've got the Di2 in the bar end plug there, so it's nice and neat. I just find Di2 really good, and it's especially good. It seems luxurious on kind of a all-season winter bike, but it makes more sense because there's just less cables to corrode up, and the shifting's always super sharp. You just got to remember to charge it up. I've got my Wahoo Element on there. It's still like the original version. It's probably 5-6 years old. It still keeps working, so I don't see why I should buy a new one. And I've just got a little blinking design light on the front there. Obviously, when it's the darker months, I will probably have a bigger light on there. Don't tend to use dyno on this particular bike because I'm not out sort of for long periods of time in the dark, but I've got a couple of exposure lights I put on there. Also just got a design pump mounted on the bottle cage mounts, just so I can get myself out of trouble, and that's pretty much it. So that's my Mason Definition winter bike setup. I'll put links to all the parts in the description below. If you've got any questions, put them down in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah, see you in the next video.